Guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist, and today I have come up with one of the craziest decks I have ever made, and this is Knightmare Harpies. Okay, so I was kind of sitting around thinking, what can I put Nightmares in? Because I kind of happened to buy this whole Nightmare set when the sneak peek was going on, and I bought it for really, really cheap. So I kind of was playing around with them, and I was thinking, man, what can I put that in? And I started looking around, I was like, what makes a lot of monsters really quick? And I was like... and you know where I'm going with this. So let's get straight on into this, and I kind of wanted to see if I could incorporate it into Savannah's deck. So shout out to Savannah or Scorpio Senpai for drawing my channel art and helping me out so much on my channel. I really appreciate you, Savannah, and I kind of wanted to do this deck profile as the third deck profile of the night, just to kind of say, hey, thanks. So let's get into this, guys, and see how we can play Knightmare Harpies. So let's get into this. So first off, we're going to play 3 copies of Harpie Queen. Harpie Queen is basically you discard it to add a the field spell, which is Harpie's Hunting Ground, from your deck to your hand. And then she also becomes Harpie Lady when on the field and in the graveyard. We play 1 copy of Cyber Harpie Lady. Cyber Harpie Lady is, this card's name is Harpie Lady, period. It's the first effect monster and only effect monster that actually doesn't have an effect. Pretty neat. I really wish they would have made her a normal monster that she just counted as Harpie Lady, because then I could have played Rescue Rabbit. So then we played 3 copies of Harpie Harpist. This card's really, really good. Basically, her effect is like Scarm. She lets you add a Wing Beast monster with a level 4 Wing Beast monster with 1500 or less attack from your deck to your hand during the end phase of the turn she was sent to the graveyard. Really cool. Really good card. Then we play 3 copies of Harpie Channeler. Harpie Channeler is the basic, like, the best card in the deck. Her effect is that you can discard a card from your hand that's a Harpie card to special summon a Harpie monster from your deck to your hand, or from your, not from your deck to your hand, from your deck to your field. And then her name becomes Harpie Lady while she's on the field. And when a dragon monster is on the field, she becomes level 7. So it allows us to play Galaxy Tomahawk, which lets us go into even more Knightmare monsters, because the ideal setup of this field is, let me show you this. You get a Harpie Channeler on field, and it's a 2-card combo. You get Harpie Channeler and Hysteric Party on the field. Once you send a couple of your Harpie Ladies to the graveyard, then you make Galaxy Tomahawk with your pet dragon. And then after you make Galaxy Tomahawk, you make your 6 tokens, and then you have a bunch of cards to go off with, and then you have your Hysteric Party set, so next turn you can go off with your plays to make your Knightmare monsters. So basically that is the big combo that I came up with, and that was my big epiphany to make this deck. So continuing on with the deck profile, we're going to have 2 copies of Harpie Lady 1. Harpie Lady 1, it basically gives all your Harpie monsters 300 attack, and she becomes Harpie Lady, is always treated as Harpie Lady. 2 copies of Harpie Dancer. I've always found her at 2 being good. Sometimes I play with her at 3. I have a 3rd one, but 2 just seems to be the optimal number. 1 Harpie's Pet Dragon. Since Galaxy Tomahawk became really, really good, I don't see why people don't play this at 1. Really, it's the nuts at 1. You just need 1 to make Galaxy Tomahawk and make 9 or 6 monsters on the field at once. Then I played 2 copies of Garuda the Wind Spirit. Kind of the same concept as making Galaxy Tomahawk. You need it to special summon out a wind monster to make Great Fly, or to make to extend your plays to make more Knightmare monsters. And then because it's Nightmares, we play 1 copy of Knightmare Corruptor Edley to combo off with our Knightmare Mermaid. Isn't she gorgeous? I'm so glad I bought her when she was $18 and not when she was $35. So anyways, that's it for the monsters. Let's get into the spells. So, really, really fun deck. Really, really, really awesome deck. I cannot believe this actually works, but it does. 1 copy of Monster Reborn, because you always need Monster Reborn. I've considered putting Soul Charge in this deck to kind of extend even more, but I find with your Hysteric Party, you don't really need it, but you could play it if you want to. I don't know. I might think about bumping it in. I haven't really found what I really want to take out yet. 1 Elegant Egotist, because you only really need 1 copy of Elegant Egotist, because it just keeps flipping from grave to hand with Hysteric Sign. 1 copy of Set Rotation. You'll see why in a second. one copy of Divine Wind of Mist Valley. The combo is that once per turn, if a wind monster you control returns to the hand, except during the damage step, you can special summon one level 4 or lower wind monster from your deck, which is really cool because it thins the deck a little bit. And the Hunting Ground actually counts on either side of the field. So if you put Hunting Ground on your opponent's side of the field and you have Divine Wind on your side of the field, you get the benefit of both field spells, which is why we play set rotation in here. This might be the one thing that I would drop out of here. I don't really know if I wanted to drop this or not, but if I was going to drop anything, it'd be this and play a Soul Charge and maybe a Raigeki, maybe. 3 copies of Hysteric Sign. You need 3 copies of Hysteric Sign. This is the searcher of the deck. When it's removed from the field during the end phase, you get to add 3 Harpie monsters from your deck to your hand, which is really nuts. And if you activate this, you get to add Egotist from your deck or graveyard to your hand, which is nice, but you can only activate either or effect. 3 copies of Hunting Ground. Hunting Ground is basically like a continuous MST every single time one of your Harpies is normal summoned, and it's not it is mandatory. You have to do it every single time. So sometimes you find yourself actually popping your Hunting Ground if you're not familiar with this. And I still find it hilarious that it has the Ojama brothers on it, and Savannah absolutely despises the Ojama brothers. So, really funny. Just absolutely love that. So, let's get into the traps. That's it for these spells. Not a lot of spells in this deck anymore. You don't need them. We play a lot of traps in this deck because you need it to kind of protect your monsters, to get out some more monsters to play your nightmares. So first off, we're playing the Solemn Brigade with 1 copy of Solemn Judgment, 1 copy of Solemn Warning, and 2 copies of Solemn Strike. This prevents your opponent from doing anything, and you just look across at them and go, nope. So 3 copies, or the 4 Solemn Brothers, or the 3 Solemn Brothers, and 1 has a twin. 2 copies of Storming Mirror Force, because it plays along with the archetype being all wind, and I just love Storming Mirror Force to begin with. Harpie's Feather Storm we play as a 3 of in this deck. I would never play this at less than 3, because if you control a wind monster, Wind Wing Beast monster, until the end phase of this turn, negate any monster effect your opponent activates, or if a Harpie monster you control activates this card from your hand, if you control a Harpie monster, which is really, really cool. And in this card, its owner's spell and trap card is destroyed by an opponent's card effect, you can add a Harpie's Feather Duster from your deck to your hand. I don't know why they haven't at least limited Harpie's Feather Duster, because that last effect is completely irrelevant right now because of that. And they printed this card like a year ago in Duelist Saga, which is just crazy to me that they still haven't done anything about that second effect. Maybe they're just anticipating that maybe one day it'll be off the list. So then we play 3 copies of Hysteric Party. Okay, now this card is what makes the whole combo possible. So you activate Hysteric Party, like I said, and then you get 5 Harpies on the field, and then you can start linking them together and then make Galaxy Tomahawk, or make Galaxy Tomahawk first, which is even better, and then activate Party and then summon a whole bunch of them and continue to make your plays with your Nightmare monsters. So that's pretty much the deck. So let's get into the extra deck, guys, and I'll show off what you do. Really quickly, this is essentially Call of the Haunted. You discard a card from your hand to special summon in as many copies of Harpie Lady from your graveyard as possible, which is really, really, really cool. So that's it for the main deck. Let's get into the extra deck. This is going to be fun. So this extra deck has been I've been kind of playing around with it. So we play 1 copy of Nightmare Griffin. Griffin's effect is that if it's link summon, you discard 1 card to target a spell or trap in your opponent's graveyard and set it to your field, but it cannot be activated this turn. Also, it's a skill drain for any card that's not co-linked, which is really, really cool. Then we play 1 copy of Nightmare Unicorn. Unicorn is if it's link summoned, you can discard 1 card, then target 1 card on the field and return it to the deck. Then if it was co-linked when it was activated, all of them have the effect that if they're co-linked when they activate their effects, you get to draw a card, I believe, except for Griffin. No, Griffin has that too, which is really, really cool. But Nightmare Unicorn's other effect is that once per turn, when a co-linked Nightmare monster are on the field for your normal draw, you get to draw additional cards equal to the number of co-linked Nightmare monsters on your field. So if you have 6 Nightmare monsters on the field, you get to draw 7 cards in your draw phase, essentially. If you just have this and it's co-linked, you could draw like 2 extra cards, which is really cool. Nightmare Phoenix, this one actually discard a card, then target 1 spell or trap your opponent controls and destroy it. And if this card was co-linked when it was activated, you can draw on another card, or you can draw a card, and then its other effect is that once per turn, co-linked monsters you control cannot be destroyed by battle. Nightmare Cerberus, its effect is that you can discard a card and then target a target special summon monster in your opponent's main monster zone, not in their extra monster zone, which sucks. And destroy it. And if this card was co-linked, when you activate this effect, draw a card, and then once per turn, you can prevent a monster that's co-linked from being destroyed by a card effect. Nightmare Goblin, the card that had the most controversy behind it, which is crazy to me. I don't know why they couldn't just word it correctly like all the other ones. If this card is link summoned during your turn, you can discard a card and then draw a card if it was co-linked. When this effect is activated, you gain an additional normal summon, and then its other effect is you can apply this effect of Nightmare Goblin once per turn. Neither player can target co-linked monsters you control with card effects. By far the best link to, in my opinion, because it gives you that extra normal summon. And then finally, Nightmare Mermaid for the last Nightmare monster. If this card is a link summon, you can discard a card to special summon 1 Nightmare monster from your deck, which is your Nightmare Corruptor Ibli. And then when this card is link summoned, you can draw a card if it's co-linked, and then you can only activate the effect of it once per turn. This is probably the least underwhelming of them all, or it's the most underwhelming of them all. It makes 1 co-linked monsters lose 1,000 attack and defense if they're not co-linked, which is okay, but that's kind of crazy because it makes like Griffin 35 and all of them go up really, really big. So that's it for the Nightmare Monsters. Sorry for the long explanation of that, but if you didn't know what Nightmare Monsters do, you do now. 1 copy of Soryuja, because it's really easy with Hysteric Party to get Soryuja off. I'll go through the rest of the extra deck fairly quickly. 1 Trigate Wizard, because it's easy to co-link with these, all of these. 2 copies of Great Fly, because with Galaxy Tomahawk, you just send 2 cards, or send 2 of your tokens to the grave to make this, or Galaxy Tomahawk, and then 2 tokens. I'm trying to find room for the 3rd one, so I can just link all of the stuff away to make 3 Great Flies, and then start linking for this stuff. So, which is easy. I mean, you can link for some of this stuff with just the tokens, which is still nice. 1 Red Eyes, Flare Metal, because it's Red Eyes Flare Metal, and you can burn your opponent. If you don't want to go for Nightmares, you can just go for this. Galaxy Tomahawk, because it's stupid in this deck. It's just dumb. It's just really dumb. Harpie's Pet, Phantasmal Dragon, because it's amazing, because you can make this with Hysteric Party instead of making all this Nightmare stuff, and just beat your opponent with it for 3 attacks for over the course of 3 turns, and they can't target it with effects or targeted with attacks, or any of your Harpies for that matter. Baguska, because it's plan B in case none of this works out, and 1 copy of Castel, because Castel just bounces stuff. Anyways, guys, that's it for the deck. I really hope you enjoyed this deck. I really enjoyed taking this deck profile. It was a lot of fun, and I really hope that this deck does really, 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 really well. I hope you guys enjoy this deck. It's fun. It's really fun. I've been playtesting it in secret, so Savannah didn't know. And that's kind of why, one of the reasons that I bought the Nightmare Monsters was to see if this would work. And plus I figured since Flawed was just now getting printed, or Flood, or however you want to say it, Flames of Destruction was just now getting reprinted. It wasn't going to get into Mega 10, so I might as well buy everything I wanted out of it, because it's going to be a year before it gets reprinted. Anyways, guys, this is DarkArmedDuelist. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Hit that bell down there so you can become a part of the notification squad. And check out my Patreon down in the description. I hope you really enjoyed this video. And tell me what you think down in the comments down below. And I'll see you guys in the next video. See you around, guys.